regarding Makindu Lord Park and open air market. Chairperson.
Mr. Speaker, thank you, and we need to be granted more time because, Mr. Speaker, where the petitioners were supposed to visit the assembly from last week, but they never visited, Mr. Speaker. The number is so big, 200 people. So, Mr. Speaker, we opted to either visit the petitioners. So, Mr. Speaker, we plan to visit the petitioners at Makindu because the number that was supposed to come here is too huge that we are unable to accommodate them here, Mr. Speaker. So the arrangements are underway to visit them in Makindu. That is why we require more time.
How much more time do you do?
The Speaker, by 14 days from now, we will have visited them.
Do so. Chairperson Committee on Health Services to present a committee's report in response to public petition regarding Mavindini Ward on deteriorating healthcare services in Mavindini Ward. Chairperson Committee on Health.
Honorable Speaker, we do not have the report. We wrote to the ECM, we got the response, but when we invited the petitioners, they did not appear, but they wrote a letter, but the letter was only signed by the lead petitioner, and was addressed to the area member for Mavindini. So, Honorable Speaker, we have advised that the letter is done officially to the office of the Speaker so that we can close this matter. Thank you.
Did you invite the petitioners?
We invited, but they did not appear. Instead, they wrote the letter.
A withdrawal letter?
Yes, through the area MCA.
Addressed to the area MCA?
Yes.
But when they were sending the petition, they did not raise the matter with the area MCA. They sent a petition addressed to the clerk of the county assembly.
Yes.
They overstepped him.
Yes.
Now they want to use him.
Yes, but we have advised that they do the letter through the office of the clerk.
Since they did not appear for the committee invitation,
yes,
consider the response by the executive committee member and present that petition and send the response.
Okay, thank you.
Because you can't withdraw the contents at this time. And there's nothing wrong with sharing the information. So receive that information, consider, and convey.
Thank you.
Yes. Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Leader of the Majority Party.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the Assembly. 1, business of the County Assembly for the coming week. 2, the Makueni County Assembly quarterly report and financial statements for the period ended 30th June 2025. 3, the County Government Budget Implementation Review Report for the first 9 months of the financial year 2024-2025. I lay.
Honorable members, Makueni County Assembly Budget Quarter Report, financial statements for the period ended 30th of June 2025, stand committee of the Committee on Budget and Appropriations to consider and, no, this is, Committee on Finance. Committee on Finance to consider and present back to this House. And Chairperson of the Committee on Finance. You raised an issue with me that we discussed you in absentia. The question was simple. You have 60 reports, 32 more were laid. Now we are 33 plus 60 over 60. That is 90.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The Committee on Finance is up to the task, and we are sure that whenever this business is slotted in the order paper by the House Business, we shall be ready.
You have over 60 reports as a committee.
Yes,
as
Mr.
at
Speaker.
last week.
Yes.
Now, last week, 32 more papers were laid, financial statements. That makes it over 90 before you. So it has nothing to do with House Business. House Business today had nothing to slot Committee on Finance out of over 90 papers. So you can't blame the House Business. So let us agree, how practically do we deal with this business?
Honorable
Not so you
Speaker.
request for time, you retreat, and you have to give us mechanisms on how we will deal with these reports.
Exactly, Mr. Speaker, we have a way on how to deal with these reports, and we are, I think you give us time so that we can lay the framework on how to deal with this business, because we have it.
So take note that some of the quarterly reports are as at December, and the others as at March.
Yes.
Now, the June 30th were presented by the executive committee member. By the time you'll be presenting for the December, we will be in December and I. And by the time you'll be presenting for the 30th June, year 2005, we will be in June 2026. But this report should be presented before other quarterly reports are submitted by the executive. So that backlog must be cleared.
Yes,
You have to find a way. I made a proposal that you get extra secretariat to appear before your committee. I don't know whether that has happened. Have the officers serviced?
Yes, Honorable Speaker, we have extra 2 clerks who are experienced and accountants. Mr. Speaker, already the lead clerk from the committee is supervising the work they are doing. And very soon we are going to lay the papers. And
Have you met them as a committee?
we did not meet them.
That is my
but,
problem.
We have good response from our clerk.
No. Do you know how much each clerk is handling and the period within which they should be able to cross-examining the documents and submit file back to you?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we have that information, but if you give me more time, I will lay the information, the true information.
Yeah, you can't supervise people that you are not seeing. And
Yeah,
you can't
of course.
because
Yeah.
you should have a schedule on who is handling how much and to submit by what time.
Actually, we requested to meet them yesterday, but since yesterday we had respondents on a certain statement we were handling, we could not meet them. But I think maybe in our meeting next week on Monday, we shall meet them to familiarize with the committee members and also see where they have reached, Mr. Speaker.
Fair enough. So give us a report on Monday at 2:30. You going to lay a report, which a copy will go to the liaison on how over 90 financial reports will be considered.
Obliged, Mr. Speaker.
Budget implementation review report for the first 9 months of the financial year. The Committee on Budget and Appropriation to consider and report within 90 days. There are quite a number of reports here, on budget before you, and bulk of petitions before you, and endeavor to conclude that business.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Speaker, I think you should state the number, but I know we have 3 petitions before us, which we considered the last sitting on that was on Tuesday, yesterday, and we have invited the 3 petitioners, 3 of them, to appear before us in the next Tuesday when we sit for that deliberation.
You have divided 3 petitioners?
Yes, we have 3
sets of petitioners.
Yeah, 3 sets of petitioners who are petitioned. I think what has remained here is we had a budget and implementation review paper which we have already tabled, which has already been tabled, I think, and we are going to handle that. By the way, we are way forward. We have almost doing the annual implementation status, but this one is will guide us. But we are working on the final one now.
Very well.
Yes.
Chairperson of the Committee on Public Participation, County Administration, to table committee's report on oversight on non-payment of project management committee, project management committees across the county, which was conducted from 4th to 5th of April, year 2025.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Assembly. The report of the Committee on Devolution, Public Participation, County and Special Programs. The oversight on non-payment of PMCs across the county, conducted on 3rd, 4th, and 5th April 2025. I lay.
Chair. Next one.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Chairperson Committee on Devolution to give a notice of motion.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion that this Assembly adopts the report of Committee on Devolution, Public Participation, County and Administration and Special Programs on the oversight on non-payment of PMCs across the county, conducted on 3rd, 4th, and 5th April 2025, laid on the table of the Assembly on 6th August 2025.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Leader of the Majority Party.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 47-2A and 55 of the County Assembly Standing Orders, I rise to give a statement on the business of the County Assembly for the coming week. Mr. Speaker, the following business has been tentatively scheduled to be transacted by the County Assembly in the coming week. Monday, 11th August 2025. Petitions. Presentation of our report in response to the public petition regarding the evacuation and gazettement of Q wetlands in Makindu Ward. Papers. Tabling of the half-yearly progress report of the Committee on Selection for the period July to December 2024. Notice shall also be given. Statements. Response to the statement as was requested on 18th February 2025 by the member for Muvauki Kumini Ward regarding the need for survey of Kangondi Market in Muvauki Kumini Ward. On Tuesday, 12th August 2025, morning plenary. Papers. Tabling of the half-yearly progress report of the Committee on Implementation for the period July to December 2024. Notice shall also be given. Statements. Response to the statement as was requested on 29th July 2025 by the member for Emali Mulala Ward regarding the delayed completion of staff quarters at Mwanani Dispensary and equipping of Emali Level 4 Hospital. Motions. Motion for the adoption of the half-yearly progress report of the Committee on Implementation for the period July to December 2024. Afternoon plenary. Papers. Tabling of the half-yearly progress report of the Assembly Business Committee for the period July to December 2025. Notice shall also be given. And the second paper will be the statement as requested on 12 March 2025 by the member for Emali Mulala Ward regarding the implementation of functions transferred to the Emali Sultan Ahmud Municipality. On Wednesday, 13th August 2025, papers. Tabling of the half-yearly progress report of the Liaison Committee for the period July to December 2024. Notice shall also be given. Motions. 1. Motion for the adoption of the half-yearly progress report of the Committee on Implementation for the period July to December 2024. 2. Motion for the adoption of the half-yearly progress report of the Assembly Business Committee for the period July to December 2024. Mr. Speaker, there shall be a meeting of the Assembly Business Committee on Monday, 11th August 2025 at 9 a.m. and pursuant to the decisions of that meeting, additional business may be scheduled to be transacted by the County Assembly during that week. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chairperson Committee on Roads and Infrastructure to present a response to statement number 9 as requested by member from Petition Ward regarding non-implementation of various projects, that's the road projects in Petition Ward.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to give additional response to the statement regarding the non-implementation of various road project in Bitini Ward. Mr. Speaker, Kenya shillings 1,896,048 from the fault line was utilized to pay for graveling works along Mutiambua, Kavudhu, Musui Road, being a pending bill for the financial year 2022-2023. The project had an allocation of Kenya shillings 2 million, which was not supplemented in the financial year 2023-2024. Due to budget shortfall, the department prioritized the payment of the pending bill, which affected the implementation of the plant works. The Department of Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, Housing and Energy has committed to working with the Department of Finance to ensure that the funds are reallocated in the Supplementary Budget 1 of the financial year 2025-2026 as attached in Appendix 2. Mr. Speaker, Appendix 2 is attached, whereby the department hereby commits to work with the Finance Department to ensure that these funds are reallocated in the Supplementary Budget 1 of financial year 2025-2026, signed by the ECM. Thank you.
Member from
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the committee for that good work they have done, and with that commitment that the money will be reallocated during Supplementary 1, I'm just comfortable. I will just wait up to the time we'll be passing the Supplementary Budget 1 and see if the department has followed its recommendations. Thank you.
Very well. Chairperson, Committee on Infrastructure and Transport, to present a response to the statement. Number 23 is requested by a member from Bitini Ward on 9th of July regarding relocation of a transformer from Vulueni in Bitini Ward.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I hereby rise to give a response to the statement regarding the reallocation of a transformer from Vulueni village in Bitini Ward, as was requested by Honorable Bernard Tivu, member for Bitini Ward, on 9th July 2025. Mr. Speaker, allow me to go to the question and answer.
That's it.
Mr. Speaker, the response to the statement is as follows. Whether the department was aware of that the transformer which had been installed in a village in Bitini Ward was relocated to Mukaa Ward, and whether the county government sanctioned this relocation since the transformers were purchased by the county government. The response is that the department was aware. It's worth noting that once the transformer is installed and handed over to KPLC for maintenance and operation, it becomes a property of KPLC, and KPLC can move it depending on various reasons. In this case, the transformer was idle as it was not connected to any customer. Question B, if yes, what actions has the department taken to ensure that the transformer was returned to the village as was promised to ensure equity in distribution of county resources across the wards? KPLC has committed to return the transformer by Tuesday, 5th August 2025, that is, was yesterday. Find attached KPLC email, Appendix 3. C, while the transformer has not been returned 3 years down the line since its relocation, the transformer was idle. KPLC recovered it to protect it from failure and vandalism since there were no customers connected. Question D, whether the transformer at Kayata Secondary School was repaired. If yes, where was it taken after being repaired? If no, why it was not repaired? The transformer for Kayata Secondary School was repaired and returned. Question E, the plans the department has in place to ensure that Flueni Village is connected to power as was planned, either by returning the relocated transformer or purchasing another transformer. The transformer shall be returned, however, there's a need for budget allocation to facilitate power distribution through the low voltage network to all mapped customers. Question F, the extent of consideration of connection applications by the residents of Fulueni Village to the KPLC. State when such connections will be done and when the department plans to install a transformer in the village. Upon provision of the budget for power distribution, the department will engage RELEC for power distribution. Mr. Speaker, there's that correspondence which stated that the transformer was to be relocated yesterday. So, Mr. Speaker, we can hear from the member. Thank you.
Honorable member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the committee, I want also again to appreciate them. They can take time, but come up with a conclusive report. But Mr. Speaker, in their response, there is a commitment and timeline. That was yesterday that the transformer will be relocated to that place, but I've confirmed up to now, it has not been taken to that place. So, Mr. Speaker, it is upon the committee to follow up with the department so that the transformer can be relocated to that area. Also, Mr. Speaker, I want to challenge the committee. That is not the work of the residents to connect electricity to their homes and to their businesses. Once they apply, it is the work of the Kenya Power to connect to them. And in this instance, Mr. Speaker, residents had applied, but they were not connected with power, Mr. Speaker. So the argument that the transformer was idle, that is not true, because the claim was that they applied, but it was not, they were not connected to. So let them not hide, let KPLC not hide in that statement that the transformer was idle and that they were protecting it from being vandalized by the resident. They need to be very serious with their work, and they need to work very quickly when people apply for electricity, because that money was allocated to benefit the residents, but up to today, they have not benefited. So, Mr. Speaker, if we can hear from the chair, if he and follow, because if this statement came on Monday, maybe you could have given you benefits of doubt that tomorrow it will be taken to that place. But up to now, nothing has happened. So the chair has a work, our task to undertake. Thank you.
Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Member Vole.
Mr. Speaker, the honorable member from Petition brought out a very important issue, which has also been a thorn in the flesh. And I would have wished actually if we can ride on the same question and expand a bit on the fact that at the moment there's a common trend being done by KPLC people, whereby they are actually removing transformers at any given point, and the places are left without power. They go away with the transformer, only for you to follow up and you find it is actually installed elsewhere, and you are told to wait for another transformer to be brought. In my area, we have more than 6 areas which have been affected, even though I'm following up
with the top management of the KPLC. But I think it should go into record that there are also other funny characters who are somehow conflating to defraud people their rights of enjoying electricity by relocating or by removing transformers helter-skelter without proper procedure of communication to the consumers. So I think this is an issue which needs to be captured, and it could be the able chair. I know it's a very able chair. He might be having as either one or two words about the same, or whether also as a committee they might have also observed that while they were following the issue of Honorable Ben von Bitin. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. So, Speaker, you'll allow the committee to make a follow-up on the said issues. And, Mr. Speaker, it is worth noting that the department has committed to work once a budget is in place for power distribution. On the response on question E, the plans the department has in place to ensure that Fulueni Village is connected to power as was planned. So, Speaker, the response goes that the transformer shall be returned. However, there is a need for budget allocation to facilitate power distribution through the low voltage network. Question F, the extent of consideration of connection applications by the residents of Fulueni Village to KPLC. So, Speaker, upon provision of the budget for power distribution, the department will engage REREC for power distribution. So, Speaker, noting that concern, so whether noting that the member needs to push for that budget, maybe through public participation or through HQ consideration, so that that budget can be availed for that work to be done. So, Speaker, on the issue of the relocation that was scheduled to be done yesterday, grant the committee 7 days to respond. So, Mr. Speaker, allow the committee to respond next week on Wednesday. Thank you.
Chairperson, endeavor to do so. Honorable members, there are quite a number of motions that have suffered time, but I wish to indulge you that we defer these following statements so that we can attend to motions that have been deferred for almost 2 weeks. That is the statement by member from Zambani Vigoni regarding Mzima Springs, a statement by member from Mavindini Ward regarding County Assembly Executive Carlon Mortgage. There's a statement by member for Ilima Ward regarding raising cases of drug abuse in the youth in the county. And the statement by member for Kikumbuli South Ward regarding Kibwezi Makindu Water Storage Company, Kibawasco water tariffs. I'm aware on the last one that the chairperson, you have indicated to me that you are in conversation with the request of the statement, that you're expecting additional information from him and that you'll be ready on Monday. I hope that is the case. The request of the statement, Honorable Galuna. Is it so? Yes?
Yeah, you said you required them to bring it on Monday. So Monday is fine.
Very well.
There's no difference between now and Monday. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Proceed.
About the statement from Zima Springs, because it came on this floor, and you directed that we bring it as a report, not actually as a statement. So so that it can have recommendations. So I believe for it to be in the list of the statements, it seems like there's an error somewhere or a mix-up. And we are already compiling the report. So by Monday, could be we can to bring the report ready.
Very well. What is important is that we're expecting a response on Monday. Is it fair enough? Honorable members of our communication, Honorable Mzima Springs and the rest of the statement will come on Monday. Members are affected by Mzima Springs, member for Mtitwande, member for Zambani Vingon, member for Thange Masongaleni, Kikumbuli, North and South, is leader of majority. Leader of majority, you can do better than that. You are attracting attention of everyone. When you say, everyone want to receive money. So the attention of members is drawn to what is it that is to be deposited in your phone. Yes. Member for Cascade Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I've heard you mention several statements, and I also have a statement regarding lab equipping of Wadini, and it has not been shared.
What?
Statement regarding regarding equipping of new lab accessories at Wadini. I think it is going directly to health, the health sector. Lab equipping.
Statement was requested?
Statement.
So
for the last 2 to 3 months, and I'm not gotten any
clerk,
answer.
take note of that for consideration in the next week. And all pending statements, clerk, should be in the order paper. Yes. Why are we then reorganizing them? If a statement is due, it should be in the order paper. It is the responsibility of the chairperson to let us know why the statement is not responded. Honorable members, as you may recall, have a communication to make. Yes, another communication. Honorable members, on 30th of June 2025 at 2:30 p.m., not on 30th, on 25th of June 2025 at 2:30 p.m., the chairperson committee on selection moved a motion for the assembly to adopt the second report of the committee on selection on harmonization of the committee on membership 2025 laid on the table on the assembly 25th June 2025 by way of a supplementary order paper. Honorable members, the motion was moved and the motion was debated and the question was not put. Honorable members, on 30th of June, the following Monday, the mover of the motion rose and a procedural motion seeking to withdraw the waiving notice period on a motion stating as follows: that notwithstanding provision of standing order number 60, paragraph 5B, the Assembly resolved to waive the notice period. That the Assembly adopts the report. Am I reading the wrong one? Yes, the leader of the majority moved a motion to withdraw the notice of a motion on the adoption of the report of the Committee on Selection on Harmonization of the Assembly Committee membership for the year 2005. The question was proposed, seconded, the motion was debated, and the question was put. As you may recall, honorable members, that led to addition, a vote of yeas and nays, where the Speaker ruled in favor of the ayes and members rose to call for a division. But I said, upon inquiring into the answered, I will further give directions on this matter, that division. Subsequently, the following day, member from Mukah Ward, he rose to inform the Speaker that when he was putting the question on the motion of that, on the withdrawal motion, that the Speaker did not put the question on the withdrawal motion, but rather put the question on the adoption of the report, and therefore that was the wrong question on a right motion. Honorable members have inquired into the answered records and have noted as follows. That the question put by the Speaker was that this Assembly adopts the second report of the Committee on Selection on Harmonization of the Assembly Committee membership for the year 2025, laid on the table on the 25th of June 2025, instead of the withdrawal motion. Honorable members arising from that, on that omission, we have two things to do. One, that a question is put again, because the Speaker put the wrong question. A question again is put on the vote on the withdrawal of that motion here and now, because the question that was put that time and caused division is invalid. And further to that, upon inquiry into that motion, honorable members, I have found that the motion that was moved on 25th of June, year 2025, had some irregularities. And therefore, in the opinion of the Speaker, whether the question will be put for withdrawal of the motion, not for withdrawal of the motion, and as to whether it will be approved or not approved, the demise of that motion is evident that the Speaker may not put the question because there are errors and omission in the motion as it was drafted. So it is incumbent upon the mover of the motion to address the gaps in that motion, if he wishes so, and table a new motion. And therefore is my considered opinion that the motion on the adoption of the report of the Committee on Selection and Harmonization of the Assembly Committee membership for 2025 had gaps, and therefore Speaker declines to put the question. And so that motion dies. Next order.
Order number 8, motion. The report of the County Public Accounts Committee on the consideration of the report of the Auditor General on the County Assembly of Makueni for the year ended 30th of June 2024.
Chairperson, Public Accounts Committee. Chairperson, Public Accounts Committee.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move the following motion, that this Assembly adopts the report of the County Public Accounts Committee on the consideration of the report of the Auditor General on the County Assembly of Makueni for the year ended 30th June 2024, laid on the table of the Assembly on 30th July 2025. Honorable Speaker, the Auditor General, having audited the financial statements of the County Assembly of Makueni for the year ended 30th June 2024, gave a qualified opinion, and the key findings with this, which this committee interrogated and sought evidence for the management, were as listed below. 1, report on the financial statements. We had 1, unsupported legal expenses. 2, pending account payables. 3, prior year matters. Report on lawfulness and effectiveness in the use of public resources. We had 1, irregular award of contracts to suppliers. 2, irregular payments during oversight and public participation. 3, delayed exchequer receipts and failure to observe cutoffs. 4, long outstanding third-party deposits and retentions. 5, non-compliance with staff ethnic diversity composition. 6, non-compliance with 1/3 basic rule, salary rule. And 7, irregular procurement in ward offices. Report on effectiveness of internal controls, risk management, and governance. 1, we had use of manual payroll. 2, an establishment of an audit committee. And Honorable Speaker, the report has been shared to members. I will highlight some of the issues that were captured by the auditor in the management response that we got, and then the specific findings of the committee as well as recommendations. Honorable Speaker, on the report on financial statements, we had unsupported legal expenses. The statement of receipts and payments reflects use of goods and services, expenditure of Kenya shillings 408,356,798, and as disclosed in Note 3 to the financial statements includes other operating expenses amounting to 137,885,533. Included in the other operating expenses is an amount of Kenya shillings 4.3 million paid to a legal firm, which was not supported with documents to show how the legal fees were determined. In the circumstances, the accuracy and regularity of legal expenses amounting to 4.3 could not be confirmed. The management response is that the amount in question relates to a Machakos Constitutional Petition number 7 of 2017, where the County Assembly received a fee note on legal fees amounting to 7.5 million from O.N. Macau and Mulay Advocates. The Assembly made an initial payment of 1.8, and Makueni Petition number 6 of 2017, Kivale Forest, where the Assembly received a fee note of Kenya shillings 3.4, and the Assembly requested the firm in writing to review the fee downwards, and the firm reviewed the fee to a tune of 2.5. The legal fees raised by the legal firm were based on advocates' remuneration guidelines, which guide on how legal fees charged depending on the complexity and nature of the matter being executed. We have an Appendix 1 on the legal supporting documents. Committee findings: the management incurred an expenditure of 4.3 million to pay legal fees to a legal firm, but no breakdown was provided to show how the legal fees was determined as per the advocate remuneration guidelines, therefore breaching Regulation 1041 of the Public Finance Management Act, County Governments Regulations 2015, which provides that all receipts and payments vouchers of public monies shall be properly supported by pre-numbered receipt and payment vouchers and shall be supported by the appropriate authority and documentation. Committee recommends that in future the accounting officer should always comply with Regulation 1041 of the Public Finance Management County Governments Regulations 2015 by ensuring that all the legal fees expenditures are clearly outlined and supported. On the emphasis of matter, we had pending account payables, where Annex 1 to the financial statements on analysis of pending accounts payable reflects a balance of 82,087,023 shillings. Review of payment records for the year reviewed that no payment had been done to suppliers during the year under review. Although management explained that they have prioritized to pay the suppliers after the supplementary budget is received, no evidence was provided to confirm that the payables had been budgeted. Failure to settle bills during the year to which they relate distorts the financial statements and adversely affects the budgetary provisions for the subsequent years as they form a first charge. The management response is that the management is committed to paying all the pending bills during the current financial year, and there is a status of payment for the pending bills as shown in the report. And then the management also says the Assembly is committed to paying all the outstanding balance within the current financial, that was the current financial year, which was 24-25. Further, As of March 13th, 2025, we had done the following requisitions for funds to settle some of the outstanding pending bills which were awaiting funds from the county treasury. And we have a table, and the management has prioritized to pay the pending bills for the suppliers before the close of the current financial year 24-25. The committee finding is that the management had not paid any pending bills or had not paid pending bills amounting to Kenya shillings 19 million, but had prioritized them as pending bills in the financial year 24-25 as provided for under Regulations 4123 of the Public Finance Management Act, County Government's Regulation 2015 of the Public Finance Management Act, County Government's Regulations 2015, which provides that debt service payments shall be a first charge on the county revenue fund, and the accounting officer shall ensure this is done to the extent possible that the county government does not default on debt obligations. The committee recommends that the accounting officer should strictly adhere to Regulation 4123 of Public Finance Management Act, County Government's Regulation 2015, by paying all pending bills by the end of the financial year 24-25, and the status of the same provided to the committee within 60 days after the adoption of this report. Honorable Speaker, there was an audit query on prior year matters where there are several paragraphs that were raised under the report on wrongfulness in the use of public resources, but the management had not resolved the same. So in their response, they said that they had resolved all issues raised by the auditor in prior year in regard to conformance with the public sector accounting standards. But the committee found out that the management attempted and resolved some of the issues, but others were still pending as provided for under the provisions of the standards prescribed by the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board template and Section 53 of Public Fund Audit Act 2015. The committee therefore recommends the accounting officer should strictly comply with Section 53 of the Public Audit Act 2015 by taking action on all issues raised by the Auditor General. And the committee requires that this recommendation be acted upon and report progress within 90 days after the adoption of this report. Honorable Speaker, on the report of lawfulness and effectiveness of use of public resources, we had irregular award of contracts to suppliers. The statement of receipts and payment as disclosed in Note 3 to the financial statement reflects use of goods and services amounting to 448,356,798, which includes an amount of Kenya shillings 71,730,040 shillings in respect to domestic travel and subsistence allowance. Included in the domestic travel and subsistence is an amount of 17 million incurred on hiring on conference for members of the County Assembly and staff in Nairobi, Machakos, and Mombasa counties. This is contrary to Regulation 151, 1, 2, and 3 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act, Regulations 2020, which states that for the purposes of Sections 157(4)(d) of the Act, counties, sub-counties, and constituencies shall be regions where exclusive preference and reservation schemes shall apply, where citizen contractors are based and operate, and shall be given exclusive preference or any devolved fund, except where it is established that local capacity is not available. In addition, the officers who participated in the activities were paid a total of 48,073,200 for domestic travel and subsistence allowance. In circumstances, management was in breach of law. A management response. Honorable Speaker, the Assembly management response was, the Assembly has pre-qualified hotels in Machakos, Nairobi, and Mombasa, and in larger Makueni County. During the period under review, the Assembly engaged hotels in Nairobi, Machakos, Mombasa, Makueni, and among others towns. The hotels in Makueni were not discriminated against at all, as alleged. The procurement method applied in booking these hotels was framework contracting, where the assembly entered into framework contracts with the hotels at competitive rates. Whenever need for conference services was required, a suitable facility was booked depending on availability of space. The hotel conference facility to host was determined through call on order, where several hotel or conference service providers are reached with the aim of finding which one among many can immediately take the order conveniently to aid the assembly conduct its business regardless of location. One among many under framework agreement regardless of location is reached. This is guided by section 114(3)(a) of the Public Procurement Asset Disposals Act 2015. The committee finds that the assembly had pre-qualified hotels in Nairobi, Mombasa, Machakos, in the larger Makueni County, and engaged their services without discrimination and adhere to Regulation 151(1), 2, and 3 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Regulations 2020. Honorable Speaker, the committee recommendation is that the accounting officer should always comply with Regulation 151(1), 2, and 3 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposals Regulation 2020 by entering into framework contracts with hotels offering conference facilities within the county and a status report provided within 60 days after the adoption of this report. Irregular payments during oversight and public participation. The statement of receipts and payments as disclosed in Note 3 to the financial statement reflects an amount of Kenya shillings 448 million in respect of use of goods and services, which includes other operating expenses amounting to 137 million for other operating expenses. Including in the other operating expenses is an amount of 12.7 million and 32.7 million incurred in oversight and public participation activities, respectively. Review of sampled payment vouchers reviewed that members of the County Assembly MCS were paid an amount of 50,000 and 70,000 each for every facilitation on the rates and the rates have not been specified by Salaries and Remuneration Commission in the Gazette Notice on Remuneration and Benefits of State Officers dated 9th August 2022. In addition, each participating MCA was paid transport facilitation allowance of between 6,000 and 8,000 per day, regardless of distance traveled. In the circumstances, management was in breach of the law. The response: the County Assembly Service Board is responsible for providing services and facilities to ensure the efficient and effective functioning of the County Assembly. B, constituting officers in the County Assembly Service and appointing the supervising officer holders. And C, preparing annual estimates of expenditure of the County Assembly Service and submitting them to the County Assembly for approval and exercising budgetary control over the service. D, undertaking singly or jointly with other relevant organization programs to promote the ideals of parliamentary democracy. And E, performing other functions necessary for the well-being of the members and staff of the County Assembly. Honorable Speaker, the County Assembly Service Board on 17th November 2022, through resolution number 26 of 2022, made a resolution that members of the County Assembly will be facilitated with Kenya shillings 50,000 and Kenya shillings 70,000 for public participation and oversight events. And attached is the resolution of the County Assembly Service Board, resolution dated 18th September 2023. That is in Appendix 2 and 3. Finding is that the County Assembly Service Board will be guided by Section 12(7) of the County Governments Act 2012 and Section 11 of the County Assembly Services Act 2012, mend a resolution to facilitate members. And further, members were facilitated official transport to aid them in performance of their duties. And the core mandate of the County Assembly in all the wards. The committee recommends that the matter was addressed since the expenditure was incurred to support the core mandate of the County Assembly. Honorable Speaker, there was also a query on the delayed exchequer receipts and failure to observe cutoff, where that the expenditure records indicated receipts totaling to 137 that were received in the month of June and July 2024. There was another 56 million that was paid out between 1st July and 12th July for various purposes. Although the management explained what the National Treasury delayed in releasing the funds, there was no evidence provided to the measures put in place to observe cut-off period in future. Honorable Speaker, management is that this is a matter that is squarely under the national government, and the National Treasury delayed in releasing the funds as from 1st July 2024, and the County Assembly of Makueni started transitioning from cash to accrual basis of reporting, and this is expected to solve all issues relating to cut-off periods. The committee finds that the National Treasury delayed in the release of the funds to the county government, thus contravening Article 229 of the Constitution, as read together with Section 17(6) of the Public Finance Management Act, which provides, Article 229 of the Constitution, a county shares of revenue raised by the national government shall be transferred to the county without undue delay and without deduction, except when the transfer has been stopped under Article 225. The committee recommends that the Senate should compel the National Treasury to always comply to Article 229 of the Constitution as read together with Section 17(6) of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, revised 2020, for timely release of funds in line with cash management schedules approved by the Senate. Honorable Speaker, we also have another issue on retention deposits that were held for very long by the County Assembly, where we had a balance of 8.8 million that was disclosed in Note 9. Analysis of data provided for the accounts payables as at 30th June revealed that an amount of 7.4, which is an approximately 84% of the payables related to retention monies that was owed to contractors. The management gave a response that for reasons beyond their control, the suppliers in question had not requested for their retention monies for consideration by Contract Implementation Committee as per the requirements. However, after numerous follow-ups, the suppliers have now officially requested for the retention monies, and they are under consideration by the Contract Implementation Committee. The committee finds that the suppliers in question had not requested for their money, and as required by Section 151 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015, but same was done and was pending payment. The committee recommends that the accounting officer should comply with Regulation 41, 2, and 3 of the Public Finance Management Act. Honorable Speaker, the other issue was on compliance with staff ethnicity, and in this, the committee recommends that the accounting officer should enforce adherence to Section 65(1)(e) of the County Governments Act 2012 and Section 7(2) of the National Cohesion and Integration Act 2008 in subsequent recruitments. The non-compliance with one challenges in getting qualified candidates for the position of the audit chair and members, and they have advertised for the same, and they endeavor to operationalize the audit committee in the current financial year. The committee recommends that the accounting officer should comply with Section 155(5) of the Public Procurement and Public Finance Management Act 2012, Section or Regulation 167(1) and 168, and ensure that the audit committee is always in place and operational. Honorable Speaker, those are the issues that were raised by the auditor, but then the general findings of the committee is that the management had not paid pending bills amounting to Kenya shillings 19 million, but had prioritized the same. 2, that the management attempted and resolved some of the prior year matters with others still pending as provided under the provisions of standards prescribed by the public sector accounting standards. 3, the National Treasury delayed in the release of funds to the county government, thus contravening Article 229 of the Constitution as read together with Section 17(6) of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, revised 2020. During the year under review, the County Assembly advertised 9 posts and recruited competitively 9 staff at the entry level of whom were from the dominant ethnic community, in contravention of Section 65(1)(e) of the County Governments Act 2012 and Section 7(2) of the National Cohesion and Integration Act. Number 5, the committee noted that some of the staff were earning less than a third of their basic pay, contrary to Section 19(3) of the Employment Act, and which arose due to increased statutory deductions such as NSSF, NHIF, and housing levy. 6, the management had not entered into framework agreement for supplies at the ward offices, and the expenditures were not supplied by the electronic tax register ETR receipts signed by the officer undertaking the cash purchases, contrary to Section 107A of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015. And 7, contrary to Section 149(1) and 2B of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, revised 2020, the management operated a manual Excel format payroll system and the integrated payroll and personal database system, but had initiated a phased approach to include all the parties and staff into the IPPD system, with 70% already done, and was in the process of finalizing the remaining. Then the last finding is that during the period under review, the County Assembly operated without an audit committee during the year under review, contrary to Section 155(5) of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 and Regulation 167(1) of the Public Finance Management County Governments Regulation 2015. And there was no follow-up from the implementation of the recommendation from internal and external auditors as stipulated under Regulation 168A and B of the Public Finance Management County Governments Regulations 2015. The committee recommends 1, the accounting officers to strictly adhere to Regulation 41, 2, and 3 of the Public Finance Management County Governments Regulations 2015 by paying all the pending bills by the end of the financial year, and report the financial year 24-25 and report a status on the same to the committee within 90 days. 2, accounting officer to strictly comply to Section 53 of Public Audit Act 2015 by taking action on issues raised by the auditor and the Public Accounts Committee recommendations and report progress within 90 days. 3, the Senate should compel the National Treasury to always comply with Article 2229 of the Constitution as read together with Section 17(6) of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, 2020, revised 2020 for timely release of funds in line with cash disbursement schedules approved by the Senate. 4, the accounting officer should enforce adherence to Section 65(1)(e) of the County Governments Act 2012 and Section 7(2) of the National Cohesion and Integration Act 2008 in subsequent recruitments. 5, the accounting officer to ensure compliance with Section 19(3) of the Employment Act 2007 by configuring the IPPD to lock out commitments by the employees beyond the set thresholds and report progress within 90 days after the adoption of this report. The accounting officer should, in the subsequent financial years, comply with Section 107A of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015 and Regulation 93-2 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Regulations 2020 by entering into a framework agreement with suppliers for ward offices and whom shall provide KRA ETR receipts as required. 7, to ensure compliance with Section 149(1) and 2B of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, revised 2020, the Human Resource Payroll Manager should fast-track the onboarding of all the staff to the IPPD system, and a progress report to this committee be reported within 60 days after the adoption of this report. And 8, the accounting officer should comply with Section 155(5) of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 and Regulation 167(1) and 168A and B of the Public Finance Management County Government's Regulation 2015 by ensuring that the Internal Audit Committee is always in place and operational. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the committee, I thank the officers of the Speaker and the Clerk of the County Assembly for facilitating the committee during consideration of this report. I thank all members of the committee for the participation in the entire period with zeal and for the commitment in discharging their mandate effectively. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the committee, allow me to present this report for adoption, and I call the member from Bitini to second.
Second on the motion. Honorable members, I now put the question that the Assembly adopt the report of the Public Accounts Committee on the consideration of the report of the Retired General Makweni County Assembly for the year ended 30th of June 2004, laid on the table of Assembly on 30th of July 2005. The floor is open for debate. Honorable members, we do not have quorum. Such an attempt, we ring the bell for quorum. Move out of the motion.
Honorable Speaker, I would request members to support the report. And then from the desk of the committee, we would request that the recommendations will be followed so that we do not find it difficult, again, having issues or prior year matters that have not been addressed. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, I put the question that Assembly of the report of Public Accounts Committee on the consideration of the report of the Retired General on the County Assembly of Makweni for the year ended 30th of June 2004, laid on the table of the Assembly on 30th of July 2025. Last members of the opinion say aye. Last members of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable members, I direct that this report go to the Chairperson County Assembly Service Board, the Clerk of the County Assembly for consideration, and so is the Clerk of the Senate. Honorable members, we do have a few motions to consider. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 motions. We have 60 minutes to go. I think it's possible to consider. These motions have been spilling over for some time. Honorable members, let us try as much as possible to maintain quorum to sort this business. If you may recall in the prayers is that we have been called, yes, to consider these matters for the welfare of the people. Next order.
Order number 9, motion. The report of the Committee on Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, Housing and Energy on the need to establish an access road connecting Makueni County and Kajiado County through Campo Market.
Mover of the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to move the following motion that this Assembly adopts the report of the Committee on Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, and Housing and Energy on the need to establish access roads connecting Makueni County and Kajiado counties through Campo Market. Mr. Speaker, sir, Part 2 of the 4th schedule to the Constitution of Kenya 2010 assigns county governments the mandate on county transport, including county roads. Further, Article 189 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 provides that the government at either level shall liaise with the government at the other level for the purpose of exchanging information, coordinating policies and administration, and enhancing capacity. A statement regarding the need to establish an access road connecting Makueni County and Kajiado County through Campo Market was requested by Honorable Anderson Mutie, member for Ivingoni Zambani Ward on 25th October 2023. Makueni County borders Kajiado County to the west, with the two counties engaging in active education, farming, and trade relations. However, the lack of a direct connecting road due to the presence of Chulu National Park has severely hindered movement between them, forcing residents to rely on illegal footpaths through the park, exposing them to wildlife threats and legal risks. This has slowed economic activities and increased transportation costs due to reliance on longer alternative routes. In contrast, the roads passing through national parks like the Nairobi-Mombasa Highway have successfully supported economic growth without disrupting wildlife, highlighting the missed opportunities in linking Makueni and Kajiado more effectively. Beyond education and agriculture, Chulu National Park poses a national security threat. The park spans 741 square kilometers and connects to Savo West National Park, which covers 9,065 square kilometers, and in turn links to Savo East National Park, covering 13,747 square kilometers. Additionally, Chulu contains some of the longest and darkest caves, which could potentially be used by terrorists as hideouts, thereby posing a serious national security risk. The construction of the requested roads will facilitate security patrols and help minimize this threat. Mr. Speaker, sir, the statement raised several key issues requiring clarification, which included whether a public land exists between Savo West and Chulu National Parks that could be used to construct a connecting road between Makueni and Kajiado counties, and a request for a map showing clear park boundaries. It also inquired about the fate of previously public access roads by Kenya Wildlife Service and the Mines Department. It was confirmed that no public land currently exists between Savo West and Chulu. Motike to second the motion. Thank you.
Honorable members, I propose a question that the Assembly adopt the report of the Committee on Infrastructure, Public Transport, Housing, Energy on the need to establish access to
from the caption, the ECM response that the contractor, Bunge Logistics, was introduced to the PMC and all other implementing stakeholders. The supplier, Mr. Speaker, was introduced to all the stakeholders and undertook all the contractual engagements monitored by the PMC, technical staff, the administrators, and the MCS representative. So, Speaker, witness response indicated that most of the farmers did not know the contractor. The committee findings were that random phone calls done based on the attendance register submitted by ECM indicated that the contractor was known by majority of the farmers. So, Speaker, the further item was whether the procurement process was adhered to. The response, Mr. Speaker, the ECM response further indicated that the due process for procurement was followed to the letter. The response for quotation, Mr. Speaker, number GMC A/Q/070-2023-2024 -136 7536 was initiated on 3rd November 2023 and closed, or rather opened on 13th November 2023. Mr. Speaker, a committee was appointed to unseal the quotations on 14th November 2024, the 5 suppliers having expressed interest. Valuation committee was appointed on 15th, Mr. Speaker, November 2023, and analyzed the quotations as provided for under the Public Procurement and Access Disposal Act number 33 of 2015 under section 46, sabbatical 1 to 46, sabbatical 8, and section 8, sabbatical 1 to 8, sabbatical 7. Notification of award of Bunge Logistics was issued on 21st November 2023, filed a letter 2324. The witness was Mr. Speaker, indicated that the majority of the science supplied by the contractor from Ranga dried up. Further, alleged that low survival rate was as a result of a difference in the geographical ecology of the two sites. In addition, Mr. Speaker, duration from Muranga to Kilungu and the time the science were installed as available cooler boxes were not enough, made the survival rate too low due to desiccation and withering. They propose that such certified science can readily be sourced within the ward, promoting the economic aspect of farmers' engagement in avocado science farming. So, Speaker, the committee findings was that since the ward has farmers practicing crop husbandry on avocado, Department of Agriculture officers and officers responsible for the certification of science, as long as they are certified and are free from pests, disease, and farmers are well maintained, then they can be allowed to supply them instead of sourcing science from outside the ward, as long as procurement processes are adhered to. The Speaker, the fifth issue was whether there was interference by county officials. Mr. Speaker, first and foremost, the village administrator issued unapproved seeds. The caption, the response indicated that the science supplied to the farmers by the water agriculture officers, in the presence of the administration officers, had been verified and approved by the technical teams before issuance to the beneficiaries. This is an attachment. Then the village administrator did not therefore issue unapproved science. Witness responses, Mr. Speaker, indicated that the PMC was not involved in the issuance of science. The water administrator and the village administrator issued the science directly to the beneficiaries, and it could not be ascertained the actual number of science issued. So, Speaker, the committee findings was that the ward administrator and the ward agriculture officer issued science to the beneficiaries by consulting a section of the PMC. Then Roman 2 is that the ward agriculture officer distributed science at night. The ECM's caption response indicated the ward agriculture officer did not distribute science at night. This was a false allegation by the witnesses. The grafters were told to pick science and plan for the activity the following week, which they did. So, Speaker, the witness response would indicate that some science were issued at around 7 p.m. on that mentioned date when they were brought by the contractor at around the same time. while the rest were issued the following day. When the PMC arrived the following day, they found the science have been distributed. The committee findings, Mr. Speaker, is that the PMC was partly involved in these issues of science. Then the committee recommendations. The ECM to take action on the ward agriculture officer and village administrator for alleged conduct on the matter and update the county assembly within 30 days after adoption of this report by the county assembly. Then there was Roman 3, that is convening of PMC meeting during public holiday, that is on 20th April 2024, and termination of PMC chair. The department got in touch with the ward administrator, who stated that on 20th April 2024, being a public holiday and while on off-duty, it was called by the ward agriculture officer and the village administrator, who reported that the PMC had received the third batch of the science from the contractor. However, when the grafting tapes came in a different vehicle at around 6 p.m., the PMC chairperson confiscated them and refused with them. The ward administrator immediately called a brief meeting with the PMC to understand what the issue was. In order that during that meeting, the chairperson did not make any comments, even though he was in the meeting all through. This gross misconduct by the chairperson was reported to Kilongo Police Station by OB number 1305/4/2024. The committee was later informed that the matter was withdrawn from the station and the result was settled on the matter outside the court. The sub-county administrator, in liaison with other committee members, taken Gustavo at Kilungu, jointly agreed to request the supplier for more tapes to enable grafting to continue, which he did. This was necessary to avoid dissemination and withering of the science, which were already at site with the farmers. The activity continued well after the last delivery. The PMC chairperson is still holding the tapes up to date. The Speaker, in conclusion, the implementation of these projects was done well as witnessed. The success from the field is satisfactory with peak levels of up to 95%. The program reached a total of 2,000 beneficiaries in the 2 sub-wards of Kilungu Ward. The Speaker, the witness responses that the administrator has manipulated the PMC and dismissed the PMC chairperson. The PMC was divided and diverged views on how the project should be implemented. Some say that the science be carried out to nurseries that were already established, so that they graft and raise the seedlings for the farmers. Section of PMC were procuring seedlings that were already grafted. Others demanded that farmers to have their own nurseries, then get as science and graft their own seedlings. Due to the above divergent opinions, Mr. Speaker, they only got a unanimous agreement since there were hardliners pulling to either side of the chair or the vice chair. The Speaker, the committee findings is that there was divergence in views on how the project was to be implemented. The PMC, therefore, could not work in harmony. The chair and the vice chair had differences that affected the working of the committee. General findings, Mr. Speaker. The first one was that a valid BOQ, that is a bill of quantities, was attached. The witnesses had been mixed up by the fact that the cabinet paper from the county government had several bill of quantities attached, including for Zawiki Ligalamba Ward, Ilima, and Kilungu Wards as avocado projects. Further, relevant stakeholders were involved during project launching as evidenced in this report. Secondly, public barasa on avocado value project was carried out at Nguni Market on 9th of August 2023 and 46 farmers attended. As evidence in this report, they were trained on good agricultural practice, horticulture regulations KS 1758 standards, certification process and market access, as well as value addition and orchard management. The Speaker, they were further sensitized on importance of upgrading from indigenous trees to other avocado varieties. The Speaker, the farmers were trained on importance of other avocado fruit farming, including its recruitable returns. It has no longer shelf life and has good cooking qualities, highly nutritious and preferred for processing, and has big demand for export market. So, Speaker, the fourth recommendation is that the sensitization in the ward was considered not effective, a small sample was sampled, that is 46 farmers, in reference to an estimated more than 1,500 avocado farmers. The fifth recommendation is that despite the struggles witnessed in the implementation of the project, the peak levels of over 95% was reached with a total of 2,000 farmers or beneficiaries, totaling to 20,000 scions issued in the two sub-counties of Ilungu Ward. The Speaker, the sixth recommendation was that random phone calls to farmers in the attendance register submitted indicated that the contractor was known by majority of the farmers. So Speaker, the seventh recommendation was that certified as avocado scions were sourced from farmers in Murang'a contrary to what farmers within the ward had requested. It is worth noting that the scions from the farmers had not been certified for use. Then the eighth recommendation, the ward agriculture officer and the ward administrator issued scions to the beneficiaries without consulting and engaging the PMC. Then the ninth recommendation was that there were divergency in views on how the project was to be implemented. The PMC could not work in harmony. The chair and the vice chair of the PMC had differences that affected its working formula. Then, Mr. Speaker, we gave some general recommendation to the effect that the first one, the department continues to train the farmers on the implementation of the project, since the sample trained on the gap on the Asa Avocado project in Kilungu Ward was relatively very small. And then noting that the Asa Avocado project was implemented to completion and the contractor paid, the ECM should ensure that henceforth any project engagement farmers or another stakeholder, awareness creation, capacity building, or no other value chains that are budgeted in financial year 24-25 under the department. Going forward, the ECM should share with the County Assembly Committee the work plan for other projects to be implemented by the department dealing with matters county agriculture for action within 30 days before the commencement of the project for information. And then thirdly, to ensure that the scions are sourced from within the wards, the ECM should fast track on the science and other crops certification with local farmers so as to be able to leverage with other external suppliers. The ECM, Mr. Speaker, to report to this committee on the progress of the exercise of certification within 30 days after adoption of the report by the County Assembly. Then fourthly, the ECM to avail to the committee the disciplinary action taken to the Gelungu Water Agriculture Officer and the Water Administrator for breach of the mandate during implementation of the project, that is issuing a science to farmers without involving the PMC. Further, what disciplinary action was taken against the ward administrator for Kilungu Ward for procedural dismissal of the PMC chairperson. These need to be availed to the committee within 30 days after adoption of this report by the County Assembly. Then fifth, Mr. Speaker, is that noting that there were communication and reporting gaps by the monitoring and evaluation team, the ECM should ensure that the farmers are continuously briefed with all required information by relevant department staff on a quarterly basis during the project implementation. Mr. Speaker, the sixth recommendation is that in the event that the department does not have a conflict resolution manual to handle conflict between different stakeholders during project implementation process, then the ECM need to develop such a manual and avail it to this committee for information within that days after adoption of this report. So, Speaker, on behalf of the committee, I wish to extend special gratitude to the Office of the Speaker and Clerk of the County Assembly for special and technical support offered, and thank all the members who diligently discharged their merits as required by law. So, Speaker, on behalf of the committee, I hereby present the report on the Makueni Fruit Development Program known as Kilungu As Avocado Project financial year 23-24 to the County Assembly for consideration and adoption. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I call upon the member for Kitungo to second. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I don't know if the sugar levels have gone down. Members seem confused. They don't even remember that report belongs to which committee. Honorable Speaker, I stand to second this report, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, as I second this report, I want first to state that I'm a farmer, an avocado farmer for that matter, with 300 mature trees and around 1,300 which are already in the shamba awaiting maturity. So, Honorable Speaker, I think this was a very noble idea. Born with the art to help the people of Kilungu, but some officers misused this project for personal gains, Honorable Speaker. If you look at the options, as read by the chair on the report, the options were either to have scions to give to farmers so that they can graft the older avocados, or to have grafted seedlings, Honorable Speaker. The survival of scions, which they got about 20,000, the survival of scions is less than 80%. So somebody had some interest, because with scions you just go to a farmer, you fetch so many of them and get your cut, which was about making money. So, Honorable Speaker, I support the recommendation which says that some action should be taken against the agricultural officer, because that was misuse of public funds. Honorable Speaker, that's said and done. And as we look upon the ECM to come up with some issues about this particular project, we are going also to encourage the ECM to look at the future of avocado farming in Makueni, Honorable Speaker, because as the report has just indicated, avocado is the best option for eucalyptus, and eucalyptus, as you know, I brought a statement in this assembly about monkeys, which are disturbing our farmers. But if you replace the eucalyptus with monkeys, obviously the monkeys, you replace the eucalyptus with avocados, the monkeys will disappear. So, Honorable Speaker, the ECM should take this very seriously so that we may know what actually should be done to avocado farming in this county. Honorable Speaker, it's unfortunate that avocado is not part of the value chains covered under NAFCDP. But fortunately, as a county government, we can do something about avocado farming. And I believe we can also create our own value chain and find markets for avocado farmers and try to market the avocados elsewhere. Honorable Speaker, you know, it's funny that we sell avocados at 10 shillings. But in the US, I've been getting photos from supermarkets there. In the US, 2 avocados cost about 700 Kenya shillings. That's a 350 per piece. 350 shillings. We are selling at 10 and they are selling at 350. So, Honorable Speaker, I encourage the department, and because I'm a member of this committee, I hope that we shall press the department to think about value chain addition for avocado farming. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I second.
Honorable members, I propose a question that the Assembly adopt the report of the Committee on Agriculture, Livestock, Fisheries, Corporate Development. The Makueni Food Development Program, known as Kilungu Ward as a Avocado Project year 2023-24, laid on the table of the Assembly on 4th of August year 2025. The floor is open for debate. Mover of the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just urge the members to support the motion so that it can be implemented fully.
I'll put the question, which is that this Assembly adopt the report of the Committee on Agriculture, Livestock, Fisheries and Cooperative Development on the Makueni Food Development Program, known as the Kilungu Ward as Avocado Project of the year 2023-2024. The report was laid on the table of the Assembly by the Chairperson of the Committee on Agriculture on 4th of August year 2025. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. As members of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable members, I direct that this report as approved by the County Assembly be conveyed to the County Executive Committee member responsible for agriculture, the member for Kilungu Ward, the governor and the deputy governor, and Ilima Ward, and member for Ilima Ward. Further to that, allow me to commend the Committee on Agriculture. This report is completely different from the one presented yesterday. This is white, yesterday one was black. This one, every recommendation has a timeline within days, 30 days, and what should be done. Yesterday was a good novel or a storybook. It has a start, it doesn't have an end. So if the yesterday's report could copy today's report, we will be doing good. But this is commendable, it's a good report with good recommendation. And honorable members take recommendations and follow up on your recommendation with the executive committee members. Honorable members, time now being 17:00 hours, Assembly stand adjourned and due Monday 11th of August 2025 at 14:30 hours.